Hey, welcome back. Today we're hopefully going to factor out one of two variables that I think are redundant. Right here, we've got a bottom stone index that we use for dropping stones. So when we pick up less than 6 occupants, our bottom stone index is 1 because that is the index 1 is the bottom of it is the lowest stone. But then we had a lowest mouse stone stack order, and we're not actually doing anything different with these things, because if you look here, when we pick one up, we're decrementing this variable. When we drop one, or incrementing it, they're currently being used to do the same thing. So we can get rid of one of them and make it more concise. So I'm hoping to figure that out today. But last episode, when I tried to factor one of those out, it broke our dropping of stones. So I need to figure out what I missed in that. Excuse me. So, first of all, I'm going to write these down because I just forget the name of them. So the idea is, and the thing is, these two things are named different things, but when you think about it, they actually represent the same thing. Because when we pick up a stack less than 6, our lowest mouse stone stack order will be 1, which is what our bottom stone index would be. And when we pick up, let's say from a 10 stack, our lowest mouse stone stack order, the stack order of our lowest stone would be the index of our bottom stone. So they're named different things, but they actually kind of represent the same thing, and the code reflects that, I'm pretty sure. So I think the first order of business is to just take bottom stone index, for example, and we will go to our very beginning bottom stone initialization and make sure that we're not deviating from our lowest mouse stones stack order, which we're already deviating from it. But oh no. I think we overwrite this. So I'm just going to place those two right here for now, just so I can kind of see them easier. So we're going to go through, look for every bottom stone index, and see if we ever do it anything different. My gut's leaning towards we're actually going to just keep the lowest mouse stone stack order, but for now we just need to get rid of one of them, then we can change the name. So we just need to make sure it works when we get rid of one of them. So we're storing inside of our bottom stone index the bottom stone from our, let me think about this. Oh, see, look, yeah, we've got, see, okay, so we initialize it to 0 up here instead of 1, so there's a difference. But then if you look at the very first time we use this, we just increment our bottom stone stack order right here. So I'm thinking that gets us back to being right on par with initializing it the same. So if we just, well, for now I'm not going to change the initialization just in case that kind of fucks anything up. So let's say we have 3 occupants. Oh, see, look, this is only upon a greater than 5 occupants. So do we not assign bottom stone index? Yeah, this is jacked, man. Why are we doing this different? We increment this here again if we click it on less than 6 occupants. So that just gets us to equal the one initialization of our bottom stone index. So that's not anything different just yet. We don't use bottom stone index here, so it should be okay to delete that once we switch over, take out one of those variables. So if we are in an occupants greater than 5, so let's, for example, take 6, our bottom stone index would be assigned our 6 minus 4, which would be 2. So the stack order of our lowest stone once we pick up 6 would be 2, because we don't pick up the 1 stone, we just pick up the top 5. So the stack order of our bottom stone index, mouse stone index, would be 2, which is this occupants minus 4 logic. Let's run through it with 10. We pick up a stack of 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. And 6th would be all but, so like 5 stones are left in the movement origin space, 5 stones are left in our hand, and that bottom stone in our mouse stones would be a 6 of the stack order. So this is looking right. I think I can get rid of this. Is this right? We don't assign the bottom stone index if we pick up less than 5 occupants, because if we pick up less than 5 occupants, we know it's going to be 1. We know that the stack order of 1 is our lowest stack order. It'll be the first stone to be dropped once we pick up less than 5, less than 6 rather. So far so good. Bottom stone index. Okay. Now, if we're in a move type move, and we press down to drop a stone, we are taking that bottom stone index, assigning it into our movement origin row at the index of however many occupants it has, plus 1. So if it has 0 occupants, we're putting it the first occupant. I think that's right. So we don't need to change that. All of those things. And then we're nullifying that bottom stone index. Okay, here is where we need to fix. This has been puzzling me. So for right here, we need to increment our bottom stone index once we drop a stone, so that we can drop the next stone in that stack order, right? But we only want to be able to drop the amount of stones we picked up. We want to drop less. We want to be able to drop 1 less stone than the amount of stones we picked up. So if we pick up 3 stones, we can only drop 2. If we pick up 5 stones, we can only drop 4. And then we need to also limit this. That's for dropping stones. We need to limit how many we can pick up. And we can only pick up. This is where it gets confusing, because it's like, sure, we can't drop more than we can drop 1 less stone than we picked up, but we can we can only pick up a stone that we have dropped. So if we only picked up 3, we can only drop 2, and we can only pick up 2. But it's not just that simple, because we don't want to be able to pick up 2 yeah, we don't want to be able to pick up 2 unless we've dropped 2. So it's like, if we come up with some way to track, yeah, we need a what would we call it? We need one variable, and it's not stones picked up. This is what I was saying yesterday, was that we needed to rename this, because it's not stones you can pick up. It's not stones. Yeah, we don't. Oh my gosh, it's hard for me to think. There's a difference between stones picked up and stones that we have picked up that have already been dropped. Because stones picked up means, hey, when we click, if we click on a move type move in a grid that's a legal move, we pick up 5 stones, for example. That's this variable, stones picked up. But we need a variable to keep track of how many we've dropped. And then if we pick up something, that variable of how much we drop needs to decrement and get less. So that we drop 4, we pick up 1, so it's effectively as we've only dropped 3. So instead of limiting based on the amount of stones picked up in our hand, we need to only drop a stone. Let me think about this. Yeah, we need to take this out. We need to do something different here. So like, if we pick up a stone, we're saying, well, actually, like right here, we have it in this, stones picked up. So we need to do something like this for this one, but with a different variable than stones picked up, so that we can get rid of all this crap. So the bottom stone index is doing the same thing the lowest milestone stack order is doing here, but it's going about it in the wrong way, because if you look at what we can do right now, we can drop 4 on a 10 stack, we pick up 5, we drop 4, but then we can pick up the whole stack, and we need that to be different. So we need to only drop a stone when that condition is in between the amount of stones that we've picked up. Not the mouse stones we picked up. Gosh, it's hard to explain, or hard to wrap my head around the difference. But I think that's somewhat right. Like, we need to only drop a stone if the amount of stones. Oh my god. Yeah, we need a variable of. Let me just kind of do a pseudocode. Not a pseudocode. Let me just add a variable here. Stones in hand. No, see, so the problem is that the variable, it's easy for us to limit how many we drop. It's not easy for us to limit how many we pick up, because when we drop stones, we have 3, decrement, 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 it's 0, so you can't drop a stone you don't have. But then we're saying, oh, but you can pick up a stone if you hit up. Sure. You pick up, pick up, pick up, but then what's stopping you from picking up again? We need another variable to say, if, what do we do? Like, it's like, we need to limit how many we drop, and we can only pick up what we've dropped. So they need to be linked like that. So what variable name could we pick that signifies how many we've dropped? See, no, and then it's even different. So like, let's say we say we have a variable called stones dropped. We need a variable of stones initially picked up. Let me see. So stones picked up. What if we repurpose the stones picked up to be stones initially picked up? Because we're not going to decrement that or increment that. We're just going to assign it. So I want to see stones picked up. Okay, it looks like we only use it for this. No, we don't. Fuck. We use it here. We pick up all the stones. So what if this is called stones initially picked up? Does that still make sense? We click on a move type move in a leap grid under 6 occupants. Our stones initially picked up gets the mouse stone occupants. Not the mouse stone occupants. That doesn't make sense to me. I think we need to just get rid of the stones picked up. If we click and the occupants are greater than 5, we save our stones picked up as... Oh, we do this after we populate our mouse stones, so it does make sense, but it should probably be before that. Is that the only 2 instances we use it? Or we use it in the conditions for incrementing it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is say this is no longer called stones picked up. It's going to be stones initially picked up, because I'm distinguishing it from the amount of stones we literally pick up after we've dropped some, because that's something we need to keep track of, but we'll probably keep track of it in a different variable not named stones picked up. I'm just trying to be verbose here. Stones initially picked up gets 0. Okay, so now here, instead of saying stones picked up, it's stones initially picked up. And I don't think it should be mouse stone occupants. I think it should be grid occupants right here. First thing, we say stones initially picked up gets to be this grid we clicked on, its occupants. Instead of waiting till we move it to the mouse stone, this just makes a little more sense to me. So the next stone for the greater than 5, instead of saying occupants plus 5, we're going to put it here as soon as we click on it. As soon as we click on it, we assign that occupants plus 5 because we picked up more than 5. Oh, see, this is where it's different. It wouldn't be the grid. It would just be the grid occupants. We don't need to add the plus 5 because the 5 is part of... Yeah, I think it's just occupants, just like this one is. Just like this one is. No, it isn't. It's the top 5. So no, we would know it would be just 5. Yeah, it would be just 5 because we can't pick up more than 5. So why was it occupants plus 5? It's because this was actually standing in for the stack order, not stones picked up. That's what was so confusing about it. So that was a bad name for it in the first place, because what was really being stored here was the index of our bottom stone. No, hold on. Stone occupants plus 5. Okay. Yeah, it's however many weren't copied over plus 5, so the whole stones we picked up. So no, that makes sense. It's just we can do this different. Mouse stone occupants plus 5. That's wrong. Wouldn't that be wrong? Pick up 5 from a 7 stack. Mouse stone occupants would be 2, plus the 5 gives us the 7 for the stones picked up. but we're not picking up 7 stones, so this is wrong. It would be the total. Yeah, this is wrong. I think that's a part of the reason why some of the stuff was going wrong, is this needs to just be 5, because stones initially picked up can only be 5 if we pick up more from a grid with more than 5 occupants, because we can't pick up more than 5, so that's right. Now, we need to not decrement this, because we need to instead compare this to another variable that we say is called something like stones we can drop. No. Because basically what I'm trying to say is, if we have 5 picked up, we can only... God, it's the same problem. Because if we drop 4... I don't know how to do this. Keep running into the same problem. How do we limit how many we pick up? We need to somehow keep track of how many we've dropped. So if we've dropped 1, we can only pick up what we've dropped. So if we've dropped 1, we can pick up 1. Dropped 2, we can pick up 2. If we've dropped 1, and then picked up 1, and then dropped 2, and then dropped another, and then picked up 1, we can still pick up 2. So like, how do we say that? Yeah, what would we use this stones initially picked up for even? Basically, I think what I'm trying to say is, if we pick up the most amount of stones, we pick up 5 stones, then we get this locked in at 5. Stones initially picked up is 5. So we need a variable that we say, hey, we're going to get a variable that starts at, for example, 5. We can only drop 1 less than 5. So every time we drop 1, we decrement that value, and we can only pick up to 5. So anytime we pick up, you increment that, and then we keep track of that new variable, whatever we call that, is being checked against this stones initially picked up, because if we only pick up 3, it would lock in right here. The mouse occupants 3 would get locked in on our stones initially picked up, and if that's the case, we can only drop 2, and we can only pick up 2, but we can only pick up 2 if we have dropped 2. We can't just pick up 2. So we need this variable to say to not work unless you have dropped 1. So we have to decrement it if we've dropped 1. We have to increment it if we pick up 1. And we can't increment it if it's equal to the amount we picked up, because that's just how many stones you already picked up. You can't pick up any more than that. Yeah, tough. What would we call that? What would we call that variable that we check? It would be, if we call it drop off amount, drop off threshold, or what would we call it? Because we need to be able to decrement it if it's, we cannot drop more than we picked up. We can only drop 1 less than what we picked up. And we can only pick up to the amount that we initially picked up. Yeah, that's why That's why it's currently broken, where we can pick up anything, is because I didn't think about this. Let me, for the moment, keep going through these stones picked up. See if there's any other ones. We just use it for our dropping, which we would be doing a different variable for, and we just use it for our picking up, which we'd be doing a different variable for. Otherwise, those are totally done. So this one was moved up to here, to stones initially picked up. We need to get rid of this and do this correctly. And, you know, this was the whole reason to do this, is because these two were doing the same thing. This index was, both of these variables were linked together when it was working. So in theory, we don't need two variables to keep track of the same thing. So we'll just rename with the better title and then make sure it still works. So this, okay. Okay, I think I just figured something out. This was the line I was confused about why it wasn't working, or like this bottom stone index decrement didn't have a matching lowest milestone stack order decrement, and that's, I think, the reason why it would bust when I removed the other one, is because they were initialized at the wrong value. So when I would turn this off, it would break the index, because we initialized them at different values. So that's what wasn't so clear to me, and I think that's why it didn't work yesterday. So that's making me feel better. So we can take that out. We still need to do something equivalent to this, and we need to take this out because we no longer have stones picked up. But we're getting there. So yeah, I think I'm on the right idea with this, where we only do the pickup, copying stone over if our milestone occupants are less than how many we've picked up, but this is different. So like, we can only pick up, yeah, what variable do we call the one that we decrement and increment based on how many we've dropped? Drop off amount? But it needs to be drop off, because it needs to be like equal to 5 initially. Like it needs to be equal to the amount of occupants initially, and we decrement it if it's higher than 0, actually higher than 1, because we can't drop all of them. Jeez, I don't know. I think I'm onto something here. I think we got rid of all, other than this stones picked up, we've got rid of all mention of stones picked up. We just need to add in the correct decrementing and condition checking for whether or not, you know, we can only pick up what we've dropped. So how do we say that? What? So we've got stones initially picked up, which is a positive number of our milestone occupants. So let's say we pick up 3. How many can we drop? We can drop 2. Can't drop all 3. So we can say, as long as when we're dropping stones, we say, just like this, we have it here. If our milestone occupants greater than 1, we can drop stones. But that's not all we need to do, because we need to keep track of how many we drop, so we can only pick up what we've dropped. So that's what's a little confusing about this, because this is the kind of lazy way to do it, but we need to make sure we increment And this is what we were trying to fix there, where if the bottom stone index was less than the amount of stones we initially picked up, that's when we increment our bottom stone index. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now, but that was to increment the stone index only as long as... Yeah, that's messed up. That's jacked. We just need to do something different than that. So this is the easy way of doing it, but it's not the correct way in my book, because we need to actually, well, as long as in the body of code, we decrement the thing that we're talking about. So if we pick up 3, if we drop 1, we need to say, hey, our variable, whatever it was equal to 3, so we couldn't pick up anymore because we haven't dropped any. But we can drop some because that number is still positive, and it's not 1 yet. Greater than 1, not greater than or equal to 1. So that makes sense. We can only drop, as long as we've got 1 stone in our occupant, we can drop stones. But anytime we drop a stone, we need to say, hey, take this number that used to be equal to our stone occupants, and we can't use stones initially picked up because we don't want to modify that. We just want to say, if, then, what do we do? Because, yeah, we want to limit how many we drop, which we do with this line here, but we want to limit how many we pick up with this other variable that I'm thinking of, but I don't know what to call it or how to use it. Because my gut is telling me it needs to be equal to the occupants so that we can say, hey, this index of stones dropped. That doesn't work because we drop from the bottom. We pick up to the bottom. I need to come up with a name for it and just try it. I guess let's get rid of my idea that they need to be equal to the occupants. What if we say, what if we do a simple, what if we call it dropped in origin grid, or dropped in movement origin, which is the first space you originate your movement, which is the one that renders dark green. So we say dropped, if we drop 1, meaning if we had more than 1 occupant to drop, we are allowed to drop 1, and we increment this thing called dropped in origin, movement origin. We increment that to 1. Okay, we dropped 1. Now, when we pick up a stone, we decrement that because we undrop it, right? So we decrement that, and we can only pick up a stone if our dropped in movement origin is greater than 0. If it's 1, if we have dropped 1 there, sure, we can pick it up, but only then. So our up condition here is not related to our stones picked up. It's related to, and our dropped in movement origin is greater than 1, which only happens once we drop a stone there. So we can say dropped in movement origin gets incremented anytime we drop. But anytime we pick up 1 successfully, we need to decrement it. So we get ourself -1. Now we need to initialize this as 0. Let me take a look at, where are we? Movement origin drop, or dropped in movement origin. Yeah, here. Okay, so now my next question is this good enough? Since I use the variable when we pick it up, my gut is telling me we want to kind of use it for dropping it too, but we can only drop 1 less than our occupants. That makes sense to me. Or we can only drop 1 if we have more than 1 in our occupant, in our milestone occupants. That makes sense to me. Whenever we do, we increment this variable, and we can only pick up a stone if we have dropped a stone in that space. And when we do, we decrement that variable because we want to keep track of how many we've dropped. So we can't pick up any more than we have dropped, which will fix our bug that we left yesterday off with, hopefully. But we're not actually using our stones picked up at the moment. We only had that so that we could limit how many we, not how many we drop, but we had it so that we can increment our bottom stone index. This is so jacked. I don't get why I did this. Because we need to increment that stone index if we successfully dropped a stone, but this should have been doing that, limiting only if we dropped a stone. So I don't get why we had to put it in a if statement here. But it'll probably be broken. When we switch this around, when we switch out, see, look at here, we do another. So we went through the bottom stone index and we removed mentions of it. Now we need to go through the same with our lowest milestone stack order, remove mentions of it, but then we need to implement the correct one single variable for what we're doing. So I'm curious what we do with our lowest milestone stack order and see if it's any different. Let's find our very first one. Okay, initialize as 0, which is different than the 1. That's what was screwing me. That was what was so confusing about it, and why it broke when I tried to eliminate one of those variables. Here's the nonsensical, we just make it the correct index if we pick up anything, which was nonsensical. We increment it if we pick up move type move, we clicked on illegal move, and our occupants are less than 5. And then we increment our lowest milestone stack order. This was the nonsensical correlation to this one. Yeah, those are both nonsensical because it's just a difference in initialization values. So that one is okay to not have. Our next one, we did the same exact thing with our bottom stone index. Now, if our bottom stone index was smaller than or equal to the amount of stones we picked up, then we would increment our bottom stone index. See, but this, yeah, this doesn't make sense to me. This line would prevent what this line was also kind of a safeguard against, so that doesn't make any sense to me why we had that. Now, instead of using lowest mouse stack order -1, we had to -1 because our lowest stack order. No. Lowest stack order starts at 0. We increment it to 1 upon clicking, and then we subtract a 1. Right here. We subtract a 1 because. Ooh, what are we doing here? We're assigning the stone fields. Copy the mouse stone, the movement origin stone into the mouse stone. So instead of copying over the lowest mouse stone stack order, however many are in our stack order, if we pick up 1, we need to shift the stack order by minus another 1, so it would become the top stack, the topmost stone of our mouse stone members. Oh, because we pick up a stone. Yeah, we're taking the stone from the grid into one lower than our current lowest mouse stack order. This is so ridiculous. And this is weird because we decrement this. We decrement our lowest mouse stone stack order once we pick up another stone, because we picked up another stone, therefore our new lowest mouse stone stack order is 1 less than our previous. So this makes sense. Let's see if we have any other mentions. Yes, we do. We populate our lowest mouse stone stack order depending on. See, so we don't need to do this. So what this was doing was going through, starting at 10, decrementing in a for loop. It was getting the. So starting at the highest stacked stone, if that stone wasn't nil, so the first stone that wasn't nil, counting downwards from our stack order, we were signing the stack order of that topmost mouse stone into this lowest mouse stone stack order. That doesn't seem right to me. It wouldn't be the lowest one. Oh, no, it would be the lowest one, because any stone that was populated, it would go through all of them. So now why didn't we do an increment and the very first one that isn't nil, save it there? We'll never know, but we don't need to do that because we're actually keeping track of the stack order here by incrementing this or decrementing this when we drop or when we pick up 1. We need to drop 1. If we drop 1, we would need to decrement our lowest stack order, or no, increment it, which we were doing here. So yeah, just like how this one was unnecessarily in an if here, this one, to decrement it, was not in an if. More affirming why we didn't need this in an if, and then our bottom stone index was decremented before over here, so they're actually matching. So I think we should be able to swap those variables out now and it shouldn't break. I think we can get rid of this. Are there any other mentions? We are printing up this lowest mouse stone stack order, and I think lowest mouse stone stack order is gonna be the variable we keep. I think we're gonna get rid of bottom stone index. Okay, so now the next move is, do we initialize at 0 or 1? Because we had both of these initialized at different things. take a look at what we initialized lowest milestone stack order to 0. Now let's look at the first time we do it. The first time we did it, we would increment it, so it makes me think we should just keep it at 1. Or change it to 1. Now let's see the next one. The next one we would also increment by 1. So yeah, we should just initialize it to 1 and get rid of those completely. I think that's busted. We would need to just do it once. Outside of that, if that would all be correct still, that would be correct still. That is unnecessary because we fix it up here, or we update it up there. It looks like we should be good. I'm going to switch that to 1, comment bottom stone index out, go to our bottom stone index, and replace this. Replace every value of our bottom stone index with lowest milestone stack order. So we're using the same variable now. Because they were linked anyway, it was just confusing with the initializations. We're not using it. Oh, we are using it. How come the first bottom stone index didn't pop up over here? But we need to do it here. Okay. So bottom stone index. Yeah, we would need to decrement it. So instead of decrementing, oh yeah, we've got it right here. Instead of decrementing, you know what we can do? It would be smarter. See how we're doing a -1 here? We need to just update our lowest stone stack order first, like we did up here with our bottom stone index, except now we can copy this into the new lowest milestone stack order. Decrement it first, then we don't have to do that -1 each time. Now we do, okay, you know what? I think we do need something like this. Because if we pick up, if we pick up more than 5, our lowest milestone stack order is just going to be 5. So I think we do need to cycle through this and save the lowest milestone stack order. I think that makes sense to me. Yeah. Because otherwise, if we pick up more than 5, it's fine to initialize it as 1 when we pick up less than 5, because our lowest milestone stack order would be 1. But if we pick up 10, that needs to get set to 5. So how are we doing that? We were doing it in this loop. We're populating that variable with the lowest stack order of our milestone stack orders. Yeah. And that's why the more verbose name is better than the bottom stone index. Because the bottom stone index would have been, say, 1. If we pick up from a 10 stack 5 stones, bottom stone index is 1. But 1 is in the first stone of our milestones. But that's not how the code actually works. We're actually rendering it as a stack order. So it would be a members 6 if we pick up from a 10 stack. Our bottom stone index would be 6 from that 10 stack. So this is the good move. Okay. We can't render bottom stone index anymore. I guess what we should do, we'll just not do that anymore. Let's go through and make sure we decrement appropriately upon dropping. Oh. Okay. Yeah, we need to fix this. if we don't need the stones initially picked up, right? No, we do. Wait, no. God damn it. No, because we're actually using it based on the occupants of the mouse stones. So instead of initial stones picked up, we're not being as strict about it. We're just saying we can drop one as long as we have more than one stone. So I don't think we need that value either. We'll check that. We'll check that once we've decremented our lowest milestone stack order and incremented that appropriately. So we don't need to increase it here because we haven't actually dropped any or changed it. That's just the initialization change, same as this. Now those should be fine. Bottom stone index right here. We need to get rid of this mention of bottom stone index, and instead we assign our lowest milestone stack order to be equal to, yep, this is exactly right, because this was the 6 I was talking about if we pick up from a 10 stack, because 10 minus 4 is 6. If we pick up 6, we minus 4, so our lowest milestone stack order would be index 2. That is better than having bottom stone index, because that doesn't make sense. Okay. Now, instead of this, as soon as we drop a stone, we need to increment our lowest milestone stack order. No, we would need to do it because we nullify what was our lowest milestone stack order. We take what was our lowest stone stack order, nullify it, then we update our lowest stack order to be decremented so that we can drop the next stone. Is that right? No. We would need to increment it. Yeah. We increment it so we can drop the next highest stone because we just lost a stone in our mouse stones. And we need to increment it because we incremented there. So we need to do this after this so that we do it appropriately. So the incrementing is good. Now we need to decrement it, and we do right here. And we decrement it before we decrement this one right away so that we can put in that grid in which we clicked all of that stone's info into the new lowest mouse stack order, which is one beneath the mouse stone we just picked up. Well, we pick up one, meaning we have one more stone beneath us, and we're putting that stone from our movement grid into that new stack order, which is right beneath what we used to have. So I think the decrement before, in this case, like we increment after the nullify. Well, gosh, yeah, this is crazy. I think that's right. We decrement the occupants of our old grid, we increment the occupants of our mouse grid or mouse stones. That seems right. Any other mention of bottom stone index? I don't believe so. Okay, what are the odds this will work, you guys? I haven't even ran code yet today. Let's see. We'll pick up. At least it picked up right. Let's see if we can drop any. Maybe we can. Let's see if we can pick it up. We cannot. We can drop the right amount. Oh. Okay, so we can't. What the heck? Let me try that again. So we can drop one. Can we pick up one? We can't. But we can pick up one. Okay, so this isn't exactly right. We need to be able to pick up. If we've dropped one stone in the origin, we also need to be able to pick up that stone. So I think the equal to would solve that problem. It did fix the bug of being able to pick up every stone in that stack. So look, lowest stone is a black stone. We can drop one, pick up one. Can't pick up more than that, but if we drop two, we can pick up two. Can't pick up more than that. If we drop three, we can pick up three. Can't pick up more than that. If we drop four, we can drop four. Can't pick up more than that. And we can only drop four. We can't drop the last one because it makes issues, and you can't lock in a movement if you haven't picked up any stones. So it looks like we fixed it. Yep, looks like we fixed it. Now, if we hit enter, we aren't actually rendering legal moves anymore, even though the legal moves is true there. So why is that happening? It knows it's a legal move, not rendering it. If we just click this, don't drop any, it is not a legal move. But if we hit enter, it becomes a legal move, yet we aren't rendering it. So why is that the case? You would think it'd only render all the legal moves. I can't believe that worked, and all that we needed to fix it was the, we did 55 minutes of refactoring, and the only bug was equal sign right here. That at least, well, you know what, before I say that, before I congratulate myself, let me turn on our 3 grid and see if it works for a less than 5 occupant grid, because that's also a test. We pick up all 3. We're able to drop 1, pick up 1, drop 2, pick up 2. Cannot drop any more than 2. So it looks like it works. Now if we hit enter, it actually renders our legal moves. So that's working. It's only when we pick up from a higher than 5 occupant stack, it's not rendering that correctly, which is kind of surprising to me. I'm going to turn that off again, turn back our 10 stack, turn back on our 10 stack. What are we doing in the render where we're not? If it's a move type move locked highlight. So what happens when we press enter or return? We have our first movement stones dropped. So if we lock in the first movement stones dropped, let's see what we do with that variable. First movement stones dropped. Yeah, we do a bunch of things. We make every grid next to us. We make every grid next to us a legal move. And then we nullify those legal moves if our movement here. No. So if we've locked in our movement origin, we falsify all the legal moves. Because we're not first movement dropped. Otherwise, if we're movement origin locked, this should probably be in an else if. Or we just, if the movement origin's locked, and no, I think that's okay. Because yeah, we need to falsify first movement stones dropped. Now, if we have dropped our first movement stones, we get everything legal. I don't get why it's messing up there. I don't get why it's only rendering legal moves for a stack less than 3. I guess let's do some further testing. Well, what's going on here? We do this falsifying legal moves because it's easier to make all our legal moves true and then nullify the ones that actually these are only getting set to true. No. Yeah, we need to falsify them because we were rendering anything that was in our stack control at that point. So if we're not first movement dropped, movement stones drop, first movement stones dropped. If we're not first movement stones dropped, meaning we're still in the process of dropping stones, everything is a legal move. False. Then, if we locked in our movement origin and first movement stones dropped, I'm gonna be verbose about it here. So our movement origin is locked. We lock in, or we are, if we hit enter, then we would, instead of falsifying every move, we only falsify things that are a stone type. This is it, members 1. We need this to be top stack now. Members 1. That's wrong, but since any legal move doesn't have a stone in it, it should still work. Oh gosh, what I do. Let me see. So 10 stack. Black's turn, we pick up, let's say lock it in. It says it's a legal move, which is true. It's just not rendering it. So look, if it's a move type move, if it's a legal move highlight, when we're doing a legal move, you know what, we need to, legal move is just rendering the legal move boolean. It's not rendering the legal move highlight boolean, which actually controls whether it's highlighted or not. So what are we doing in our legal move that we are not assigning our legal move highlight appropriately? Anytime the grid is a legal move, we get true. It's got to be here somewhere. It's almost like think we need to get rid of legal move and just call it legal move highlight. Because anything that is a legal move needs to be highlighted. So where are we messing this up? I guess, let me see. I guess if let me just turn these off. Turn off the else false and see if that fixes. Okay, lock it in. Still don't render. So where? Let me just turn these off. I'm just wanting to see what line is actually responsible for stopping the render of that. Enter. Gosh, we're still not rendering it, even though it's a legal move. Where is legal move highlight becoming false? We turned off any mention of that. Legal move highlight. What? The legal move highlight is not false. Oh, wait. It's a move type move. We click in the grid. We no longer... I don't think we need this because... Actually, no, I think we do need that. That just changes the legal move highlight for the origin spot of our mouse grid upon clicking in a move type move. There's got to be another one. If we pick up more than 5, up more than 5, or if we pick up 5 stones, then that grid becomes no longer a legal move. It becomes a move locked highlight. That shouldn't be move locked highlight. It should be movement origin highlight. Oh God, I'm very confused. I want to say if we print up legal move highlight, what if we do grid at mouse y stone or whatever, y grid, what is it? Grid it wherever our mouse is. Here. Here, we just want this. So hey, print up our legal move highlight. We call it legal move highlight. Concatenate it with a string version of that boolean. Print it to screen. So if we pick up stones, legal move highlight is false and legal move is false, but if we hit enter, legal move highlight is still false. Now why does it turn false upon enter? First movement stones dropped. Doesn't make any sense to me why it would kind of flush. It's flushing anything that is. Oh, here. Legal move. No, but it's legal move true though. So how could it be legal move true and not render? That's what I'm so confused about. Legal move is false. Legal move highlight is false, yet when we press enter, it's now legal move, yet we're not rendering it. Whereas we have a 3 stack. Legal move false, legal move highlight false, but we hit enter, legal move true, legal move highlight true. Okay, that's that. That's what we forgot to, or that's when we turned it off. So what's going on? Why would pressing enter not turn on the legal move highlight when it's a legal move? If it's a legal move, we need to render it with the highlight, like case closed. I feel like in our occupant, is that where legal move highlight is? Legal move highlight. So what if we just say if self dot legal move, if legal move is true, then our legal move highlight is true. No, assignment. If our legal move is true, we become legal move highlight true. Let's see if that'll fix our 10 stack problem. Let me just first trust this one. Should still work. Yeah. No, it won't unrender until we turn back on our falsifying legal move highlights, but I'm curious if we turn on our 10 stack, turn off our 3 stack, if it'll render the legal move now. Okay, legal move false, legal move highlight false, press enter, legal move, no legal move highlight. Where are we overriding it, dude? Legal move gets false is only ever in, we gotta turn off the last 2. Legal move highlight gets false. The only other one that's left is right here, where we falsify the grid that we're in. We falsify the grid that we clicked on in a move type move, which we're supposed to falsify. So how is it getting false? We're never assigning it false. Are we updating? Hold on a sec, actually. Let me turn that off real quick. We need to update. No, we are updating every occupant for sure. Let me turn this off. There is no mention of legal move highlight getting false other than the initialization, which is in our occupant, legal move highlight gets false. So how is it that it's still not rendering it when it's a legal move? What? Legal move. What? Legal move. Highlight in origin, that's the one that should be false. Well, we turned it off. It knows it's a legal move. Why is it not rendering the highlight? It's driving me crazy. We almost got it. We almost fixed it. Just this last thing that's driving me crazy. is true. Legal move highlight is true. We don't have any. We don't have any legal move highlight gets false. Why would it go? I'm so confused. I'm most confused because it knows it's a legal move. Now, before we lock in our stones dropped, does it know it's a legal move? No, yeah, it's false. So yeah, it shouldn't render it. They're all false. Yet, when we hit enter, it knows the legal moves, it's just not rendering it. What the heck, dude? And what's so weird is it works for a 3 stack. Works for less than a 5 stack, I'm assuming. I'm very confused. It's not getting set to false. I just am so confused. What if we set it to true? Because that's literally the only time we set it to false. Every grid is now green. No. Yeah, that's what I thought. So look, legal move true. Oh no, legal move false. And then hit enter. Legal move true. So there's everything. That's so confusing to me. Okay. Legal move highlight. Where are you? Legal move highlight. You initialize as false. Let's double check. Dot legal move. Then assign your legal move highlight to true. Now let's make sure we're updating the occupant in our play state. In our play state, we have grid. All our occupants are in our grid. So where do we? This is still in our knit. So in our update, where do we have our updating of occupants? I don't think we're actually updating our occupants because we never had updated logic in there. So I don't think we've ever done it. We just manually do it here. Yeah, we aren't actually updating our occupants. But it doesn't make sense that we're still, it doesn't make sense to me that we're not. It's gotta be here somewhere. No, it isn't, because legal move is still true. It should render if legal move's true. End of story. Move type is move. And our legal move highlight is true. We render that grid. Now what we need to do is update every occupant every frame. So here, let me see. Okay. So we need to update every occupant here. So it should look like grid. It should look like a nested for loop. I gets 1, 5. Do for j is 5. No, j is 1, comma 5. Do. And the thing we're doing is rendering, or no, updating our grid at ij gets updated by delta time. Therefore, we should flush every occupant. Well, now this line of code will now run for every occupant in every grid. And if it's a legal move, set the legal move highlight to true. Okay. Okay, we lock it in and we now render. We render every legal move, but we need to render. Okay, we need to do this after we, before we falsify things. So we need to go back here, turn on our falsifying legal move highlights, and this is based on mouse position right here. If mouse grid is so we need to falsify those things now. Actually, I'm curious if we just run it here. It should do the same thing where it renders all legal move highlights regardless of where the mouse is. I'm just going to double check. It does. So now if we update this, we update the occupants before we do any of this. So what if we put it right here? Oopsie. Okay. So we update it, then we falsify it. Let's see. Okay. It's working. It's sad that I'm not happy that it's working. I'm just like, I still don't get why legal move wasn't rendering it. Let's check our 3 stack, make sure that's working. Okay. Seem to be working. Okay. Seems to be working. I'm still confused why it wasn't updating for higher than 10 stack, but we got it fixed. Let me just add a note before we do this. I'm going to say this updates occupants legal move highlight based on legal move status. Now what we can, this also affords us to get rid of any mention of legal highlight getting true, because turning it into a legal move should turn it into true. So instead of saying we should. I'm thinking we can get rid of any time a legal move highlight is true, because it's just based on legal move now. So we could get rid of a lot of this. Okay, let's see if that still works correctly. Nice. Okay. We need to falsify. We need to falsify one more thing, which is our movement origin space. That shouldn't be a legal move, even though it's not rendering it incorrectly. We need to get rid of that, which is a legal move highlight is false under our here. So we need to redo that. Instead of doing 2 lines here, we can instead flush it right here. No, we can't. Well, let's move. That we can't. No. Okay, never mind. Okay, we turn those back on. Let's make sure it still works. Nice. This is still true. That should not be a legal move, homie. Actually, okay, I got an idea. Yeah, we stop rendering it, which gets us what we need to be done, but we need to... I think what we really need to do is say, hey, no longer legal move. Legal move, no more. And then what we also need to do is say here, if we're not a legal move, you better not highlight. And that should fix it. Let's see. We're looking for legal move to be false in the movement origin grid. Legal move's false. False, false. Now when we hit enter, this should be true, this should be true, this should still be false. It's true. What? Because when we click, if it's a legal move, yeah, this can't be a legal move, dude. That legal move gets false, bro. It gets false, it just does. Let's say, okay, you know what? It's upon enter that it gets messed up. So if enter's pressed, then what we need to do is our grid at our movement origin X, whatever we call that, movement origin row, movement origin column. That occupants legal move has to be set to false at that point. Should be false. Should be false sooner than that, but let me just see if that fixes it. False, and then we hit enter. It's true. What is going on? What is going on for real? How is that a legal move? Like, what bums me out is, like, I can fix this by just saying, hey, if we are if we're first stones dropped, that our grids move an origin column to false. But I don't get why it's being true. We shouldn't have to nullify it or falsify it. It should just not turn to true when we hit enter. It starts off as fine. That's what's so confusing to me. Look, it's false. Why would locking in our stones make it a true and a highlight? It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. We looked at any time we make legal moves true, and it's you know what? Yeah, it might be right here. No, we falsify it. But then when we unfalsify it, no, hold on. Where do we? Oh my god. You know what? When we go to falsify it, so we do it right here. So upon clicking it, that's why it gets false. That's correct, but when we hit enter, it becomes no longer false. And it doesn't matter. Oh, you know what? Let me yeah, this is I don't want to do this fix. I mean, I don't want to have to jerry-rig it, bodge it together. I want it to work. I don't want to just fix it. I don't want it to be busted. So look, we're falsifying only the legal moves if we're first movement dropped. This is messed up. We can't have an and an or without parentheses like this. So let's say if we're movement origin locked and we're first movement stones dropped, then if we're stone type, CS, or grid, then you falsify it. But what if we say or grid, or you're actually the grid at our movement origin row? Is it movement origin row, or is it movement? Yeah, it should be. So we can add the ors here, and that doesn't conflict with the ands, now that we have this nested. So we say, oh, no. No. That's not right. I don't want to do that. Let me see if the legal move is working if there's a capstone here. Okay. It correctly recognizes the capstone is false, but it still is doing the wrong movement origin. How is that getting set to true? How is it becoming a legal move once we lock in our first stones dropped? First movement stones dropped. So So our first movement locked is different than first movement stones dropped? Or no? When do we become first movement locked? We don't. What the hell, man? Why did I have that? First movement stones dropped instead, so... Now, what if the enter is working? It's just, how is it unfalsifying a legal move? It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me that that would become true upon locking in our first movement stones dropped. So first movement stones dropped. If first movement stones dropped, then we turn every move locked row 1. Our grid is it's gotta be here somewhere, right? First movement stones are dropped. Then we check our move locked row and column. So we do our corner cases here, saying if we lock in our top left and then top right, bottom left, bottom right, if that's the origin, oh, that is our origin. Our stack is on 1-1 right here. So we're actually turning into a legal move. Hold on, is that the case? No, because we're not changing grid 1-1 into a legal move. We're changing the one right to the right of it and the one right beneath it to a legal move. What the fuck? Yeah. I don't get why our grid 1-1 would be true. I really don't get it. And it becomes true upon pressing enter, which is even worse. I cannot figure that out. I think I'm gonna do the bodge fix instead of fixing the symptom. I just can't find it. I don't get why it's going true, man. if we look at literally every legal move getting true, it wouldn't be any of these, because this is only affecting the grids around our movement locked space. Would it be this? This is only affecting the surrounding grids. This isn't turning them true, so it wouldn't be that either. What the hell, dude? This is only actually stack control. Do we have stack control? This might be it, actually. Well, let me see. Let's turn this off. Now let's see if that becomes legal move still. We can't pick it up because it's no longer a legal move. But I think this might be messing it up. What if it's a player move type this, and then we say if, let's do player 1 first. We say if first movement stone's dropped, then our grid at the movement origin row and movement origin column, that legal move now gets false. And we say this. We actually say this no matter what player is controlling it. Because it's turning true. Actually, here. Yeah, no, if it's a move type move. Oh, see, we can't falsify it just yet. God damn it. Okay, and new movement locked. And movement locked. Oh, we need to do it right here. We say grid at IJ instead of, okay, I got it. Instead of legal move highlight false, we're controlling legal move highlight false based on legal move or not. So we actually just say you're no longer a legal move. We should still highlight the appropriate ones, and now I'm thinking it won't turn back on, because what it's saying, it's rendering it be based on stack control, I'm pretty sure. Motherfucker. Let me see. I think I'm close. So look, legal move true, and I think it's legal move true because look at this. Control is black. Now, I think not only is that wrong, but I think it's a legal move true because we're in a move type move and we have control and it's our turn. That's why it thinks it's a legal move. So what I'm trying to do is say, if it's move, if our first movement stones are dropped, then it doesn't matter who's in control, but our grid at our movement origin row and column needs to be false. Now we need to do this actually after our legal move here needs to get false, and we do this after we do our assignments here. So here, right here is where we need to put it. Okay, so now we are flushing our legal move to be false if our first movements are dropped, because it thought it was a legal move because we're in a move type move and we have stack control. And we need to update our stack control based on the top stone, which is a whole nother problem. Let's see. Legal move false, false, true, false. That was it. Okay. Our stack control is still black, which is wrong. Why don't we just try to fix that right now? We'll do something similar to our downwards nullifying. Where do we do that? Right here. In our stack order, we need to cycle through our milestone members. So instead of milestone members, gosh, we need to do this for every single member. We need to do it for every. We need to find out. There's two ways I imagine doing this. Like, we can either cycle through every single member on every single occupant and assign it. We can do a backwards one like this, where we say the first stone that isn't nil from the top, we're assigning that occupant's stack order to be that color. We can do that, or instead of doing that every single frame, we could probably, we should probably just modify the stack, or not stack order, it's stack control actually. We should say stack control. We just need to alternate stack control. Oh, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I think I need to save this for tomorrow. We'll leave a note to do that. We did do this. We did do this. We did do this. We did this in the last episode. We need to populate stack control correctly for each grid occupant. Now we can go about this in two ways. We can either only update control based on top stone, or based on change in stones, or we can, what I'm going to call brute force, update values based on top stone. Now, instead of doing it every single frame, we would do it only whenever we change something. So if we drop a stone in there, we would change its stack control to be the color of the stone that was dropped. Yeah. Or if we drop a stack of stones, it would need to be the top stone. There's pros and cons of doing each way. I don't know what we should tackle first or how we should do it. Part of me is just saying cycle through every single remember, the first stone you get to that isn't nil, its stack control is that colors control. I think that's just going to be the most straightforward way. Because if we only do it, even though that would be doing it every single frame, which is kind of ridiculous, to me it's kind of better than doing. We'd have to keep track of anytime we drop a stone, switch its stack order, but then that's not the final stack order until you lock in your stones. And then if we drop a stack of stones, we would need to say, hey, that grid, I guess that isn't so bad. That grid that we dropped the stack of stones in would need to get a stack control of the top stone. So I guess it's not so bad. I think we will probably go this route. Update control based on changed stones. I think that's probably the way to do it. It's just a little harder than brute forcing it. Let me double check. That our capstone or standing stone is still working. So there's a capstone there. It's our control. We move. It's not a legal move there. We can drop. What? Wait. Oh. Okay, I didn't see that stone. Okay. Now, if we hit enter, that is not false. This one should be true. Yes, this should be false. Nice. Okay. All right. Oh, and we need to not be able to pick up stones if we've locked in. Let's do that real quick. We shouldn't be able to drop stones or pick up stones if our movement stones dropped, first movement stones dropped is true. So right here is first stones dropped. So we need to make sure that and not first stones. First movement stones dropped. And same with picking up. And not first movement stones dropped. Now, does that prevent us from picking up stones once we've locked in the space? Let's see. Drop stones, lock it in, legal move, and pressing up and down, and no stones are picked up, so that looks like it's locked. Okay. Next, I'm just gonna cycle through, delete all of any unused code so that we don't have to get confused about why things are commented out. So I'm gonna just go through and make sure anything we just changed today, if it's commented out, we get rid of it because it's unnecessary. We can get rid of this because we're now controlling that highlight based on the legal move status. Same thing for this, and we can get rid of that whole thing. Same for this. Same for this. Oh, wait a second. We can get rid of this whole thing, I'm pretty sure. Because legal move highlight should be false if it's not a legal move right here. So we should be able to get rid of that whole thing. I guess I would want to check the assumption. I'm a little confused, actually. don't exactly know, but I don't think we need that whole brick. Or this. I don't think we need this whole brick. Great. Oh, come on, come on. Something broken there. We falsify the legal moves if it's... Jeez. Yeah, that broke that. And it's, I think we need this else to falsify the legal move highlight, but actually it should just be the falsify the legal move. Okay. No. I don't know. Why would I break it? It's because this else here. Let me just change this else to not be legal move. Or not legal move highlight, but just legal move. Let me see if that is equivalently right. In performance at least. No, it is not. This is a mess. This is a mess to me. What if we say... Let me just turn this off and let me just see if that is broken. Wow, really? So what if I turn this one off instead? Okay, I can turn that one off and it doesn't break. So, if I could turn that one off, I can get rid of this whole grid. I want to say I should be able to get rid of this whole thing. Be able to get rid of this. Okay, let's see if that works. Nice. So we can get rid of that now. For some reason, I would think that turning this to legal move should do legal move false should be equivalent. But it's not. It's a legal move true. That's so weird. I guess we'll just keep it like that. We can get rid of this. It's a little confusing to me. So what this is saying is if we're in a move type move and we don't have a movement locked. Oh, you know what? Instead of saying legal move, we need to come back and fix this, man. Like, I'm gonna leave a note, say, how do we factor in whether or not our first stones dropped is locked in, so that we can get rid of this legal move highlight stuff, because we shouldn't need that. It's just that right now the game's getting confused because we have a no movement. Actually, are we ever saying no movement locked gets false? Yeah, we are. Because when we it's almost like this should happen. I don't know. Oh, look at it. Only happens once. -5. We need a no movement on a bigger stack. Okay. Let me see if that breaks anything. It shouldn't break anything. But that would make sense why. Oh, come on. Really? Your illegal move, still not rendering. Give me a break, dude. I don't get why it does that. I really don't get why it does that. Why does it do that? We need to figure that out. So I want to add legal no movement locked. It's false because there is a movement locked. So why does this break rendering legal moves? I just don't get why that's so jacked. It should be as simple as, is it a legal move? Yes? Okay, then render it when your mouse is above it. It should be that simple, and it's jacked. I don't get why it's jacked like that. So maybe we say ensure that all legal moves are rendered with highlight if mouse cursor is over grid. I don't get why that's so jacked. That's been throwing me so many curveballs today. Okay. So hopefully if we fix that, we can shorten our code just a bit in this aspect with this legal move highlight, because right now that shouldn't be the difference whether or not it highlights. Actually, no, that makes a lot of sense. Because this is where if we're hovered over it, if it shouldn't be true. The legal move shouldn't be true, so it shouldn't render the legal move. I'm just so confused there. Why is it that when we turn this off, Okay. Okay. No, it makes sense. I think it makes sense, actually. Because even though it's a legal move, we only want to render it if our mouse is over it. So we're saying if our mouse is not over it, then it's no longer highlighted, even if it's a legal move. So I think that actually makes sense. I don't think we need this comment. I think that makes sense to me. I guess we don't need no movement locked. I guess we don't need this. No, we need it because we need to not render a legal move if our movement is locked. My God, I don't know. It's working. It's working. Okay. We can get rid of this because we got rid of the improper initialization. Get rid of this for the same reason. I am still curious about this. Stones picked up. We got rid of that, and actually we don't even use our stones initially picked up at all. So we can probably just get rid of that initialization and everything. Mouse stones occupants +1. We do that down here, so we can get rid of it here. Okay. I think we're in decent shape. I'm going to leave click detection open because that's kind of the most important kind of bit here. Even after deleting as many lines as we reasonably could, still we're sitting at 638 lines for our play state. I'm going to double check and make sure a couple things are working, like our legal move highlight for lock-in on a stone. We cannot pick up or drop any stones. That's great. I'm going to assume it works for the 3 stacks still. So I guess for right now, this is our 3 stack. Stack tester. want that to be visible. Okay. Alright, I think we're sitting pretty decent now. We fixed a couple of things, and we discovered a couple of things to fix. If we take a look at our git diff, I'm not going to go through everything, I'm just going to kind of look at it. So we update our legal move highlight based on whether or not... You know what? That's actually not right. That's actually not right. Because we don't want legal move highlight to be true if it's a legal move. That might be what's screwing us up in some aspects now. The reason that's not right is because we don't want to... It's not as simple as every legal move should be legal move highlighted. If it's a legal move and our mouse cursor's over it, it's a legal move highlight. So maybe we update that. Not right now, but update legal move highlight to only be true if mouse position over that grid. False if not. Okay. And then we did a bunch of stuff. We condensed our lowest mouse stack order and our bottom stone index into one value. We need to get rid of the stones initially picked up, actually, because we don't actually use this anymore. I think I'm actually gonna keep it. We don't need it, but I can imagine. I don't know. I guess I'll just get rid of it. We don't use it anymore. I guess I'm confused if it'll pop up even if we minimize it. It does. Okay, we're getting rid of it. It's unnecessary. We can add it if we need it later. But we aren't using it, and it's just making more confusion since we're not using it for anything. Okay, it's gone. We update every occupant now, which we weren't doing, because now we actually have update logic, but it's incorrect. We got rid of a bunch of legal move highlighting logic because of that updating occupant logic. We flush our legal moves to be false in our movement origin column if our first movement stones are dropped. That's because of a stack order problem, which we need to fix. Or a stack control problem we need to fix. But that's like the band-aid. We got rid of that stones picked up. Instead of toggling the highlight, we toggled legal move and let. See, that's actually, I think that actually might be wrong. No, because legal move highlight being false in this instance. Let me see what this is. 387 in place state. Legal move highlight false. Legal move is false now. If we pick up the whole stack, then our grid is no longer a legal move. Yeah, that makes sense. This is where we migrated our proper condensed variable into lowest milestone stack order. We took out some useless comments. We made this a little more readable and maybe work better depending on the logic for the ands or ors. I don't think we can actually combine those correctly without parentheses, so I just kind of nested them. Okay, so I'm going to add everything with a commit message saying that we limited stone drops / pickups, and we render legal moves upon first movement stones dropped. We also fixed a bug where we couldn't pick up stones, or where we could pick up stones once we've locked in that first movement stones dropped, but not so necessary to add that, I guess. All right, we're get pushed. Tomorrow I'm hoping we can get to the bottom of why the legal move being true wouldn't render in any scenario. We'll probably update our occupant update logic to only become a true highlight if it's a legal move and the mouse is over it, not just if it's a legal move. And then we're basically set to start doing our second movement lock, or our stone placement, and then our second movement lock. But yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and we'll hopefully get some more progress done.